Have you ever felt like one mistake changed everything? Like a single moment followed you for years, replaying itself every time the world went quiet? Have you ever carried guilt so heavy it felt easier to run than to stay? So heavy that no matter how far you went, it came with you? What if I told you that being broken doesn't mean you're finished, and that the cracks you're trying so hard to hide might be the very places where your strength begins? Stay with me until the end of this video, because I want to tell you a story, a quiet story about loss, forgiveness, and how sometimes what breaks us is exactly what makes us whole. The snow did not fall in the village of Valdor. It settled, heavy and deliberate, like a white quilt pulled over a sleeping giant. Here, the winters were long enough to make a man forget the color of grass, and the silence was so profound, it felt like a physical weight. In a cottage at the edge of the tree line, Elias sat by his hearth. He was the village mender. Villagers brought him torn coats, chipped mugs, and stopped clocks. But mostly they came to him for the quiet. Elias didn't just fix things, he held space for them while they healed. On this particular night, the wind howled with the voice of a grieving spirit. A sudden, frantic hammering at the door broke Elias's concentration. He opened it to find a figure huddled in a cloak stiff with ice. It was Kale, a young man who had fled the village 3 years prior. Kyle stumbled in, carrying the cold with him, shivering not just from the frost, but from a terror that rattled his bones. "I didn't think you'd open the door," Kale whispered, sinking onto the hearth rug. "My door has a latch, not a lock," Elias said, hanging a kettle over the fire. "What brings you back to the freeze, boy?" Kale looked down at his hands. "The guilt. It was too heavy to carry in the south. I had to come back. I had to tell you." 3 years ago, Kale had been Elias's apprentice. In a fit of youthful arrogance and carelessness, he had shattered Elias's most prized possession, a ceramic urn that held the ashes of Elias's late wife, Elena. Kyle had swept up the shards in a panic and vanished into the night, leaving only a note of shame. "I destroyed the only thing that mattered," Kale choked out, the warmth of the fire doing little to melt the ice in his chest. "I broke her memory. I am unforgivable. I am broken, Elias, just like that urn." Elias said nothing. He walked to the mantelpiece and retrieved a box wrapped in velvet. He sat opposite Kyle and placed the box between them. "Open it." Kale's hands trembled as he lifted the lid. He gasped. Inside was the urn. It stood whole, but it was not the same. Where the jagged cracks had once been, thick veins of gold now ran like lightning bolts through the ceramic. The vessel shimmered in the firelight, the gold illuminating the dark clay. It was no longer just a container for ashes, it was a map of history. "It is beautiful," Kyle whispered, confused. "But how?" "When you left," Elias began, his voice low and rhythmic like a river under ice, "I spent the winter gathering the pieces. I did not hide the cracks. I did not try to make it look as if it had never been broken. Instead, I filled the fissures with gold lacquer." Elias leaned forward, his eyes locking onto Kyle's. "You see, Kyle, you think life is about staying whole. You think perfection is a pristine surface. But that is a lie we tell the young. Life is a series of shatterings. We break trust, we break promises, we break hearts. Sometimes, like you, we simply break." He traced a finger along a golden vein on the urn. "But the philosophy of the winter is this. The break is not the end of the object's life. It is a detail of its history. By mending this with gold, I have made it stronger than it was before. I have honored its trauma rather than erasing it." "But I caused this," Kale said, tears finally spilling. "I caused the pain. And that is why you must forgive yourself," Elias said gently. "Forgiveness is not condoning the breaking. It is the decision to use gold instead of glue. If you carry your guilt like a stone, you remain a pile of shards. If you accept your mistake, learn from it, and pour love into the repair, you become something new. You become resilient." Elias poured 2 cups of tea. The steam rose, mingling with the smoke of the fire. "We are all broken vessels, Kyle. The only difference between a ruined life and a beautiful one is what we choose to fill the cracks with. Bitterness creates jagged edges that cut anyone who gets close. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is the gold." Outside, the storm raged on, burying the world in white. But inside the cottage, the air had changed. The cold was still there, waiting at the door, but it no longer ruled the room. Kyle took the cup. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel the need to run. He looked at the urn, scarred, shining, and whole, and finally understood that he could be the same.